I'm gonna mute everyone for now.
Okay, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our second weekly Koin webinar, where today we're going to be talking about how classes work at UC Davis and how to build your schedules, along with giving you guys some tips to do both of these. We're so glad you can make it. My name is Khalees, and I'm a senior at UC Davis studying human development and education. I'm here with some of my friends, some other seniors at UC Davis, so how about we just go around and introduce ourselves? We can say our name, our year, our major, and then our favorite class that we take in at UC Davis. So, Carl, do you want to start?
Yeah. Hi, my name is actually Carl Magwal. I know it shows Tyler there, but don't mind that. That's my friend's account. That's why. But I am a senior now in college. I am majoring in civil engineering, and some of the favorite classes that I've taken in the past were this education class. I was trying to do education minor in the past, and this class required me to take classes outside of college and go to elementary school and teach elementary students, and that was a pretty fun experience.
That's awesome. Thank you. And then, Mika, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Michaela. I'm also a senior at UC Davis and I'm studying animal science. And I think right now so far my favorite class was Gel 12. It's also called Dinosaurs. So yes, that was my favorite G.
That's awesome. As I said, my name is Khalees. I study human development. I'm also a senior. And my favorite class that I've taken at UC Davis is one called Musics of the World, where you just get to listen to a bunch of different music and instruments from around the world. So I thought that was really cool. Thanks, you guys. So we are here to talk about how classes work at UC Davis and how building your schedule works as well. So kind of just a general overview of our time. I'll be giving kind of generally how the classes work at UC Davis, and then we'll share some tips with you guys about building your schedule and how to pick classes. And then Carl will do a demonstration of how to use Schedule Builder. So we can go ahead and get started with that. Okay, so in college, you have kind of what are called pastimes in order to pick your classes. So these are just organized time slots in which you can sign up for your classes. The first pastimes go to seniors who have priority choosing the classes that they need to graduate, and it works itself down to the freshmen. You have two pastimes or time slots that you can register for your classes in. So during your past one, it would kind of be important to prioritize the classes that you need and that you really want. You want to make sure that you really know when it is by setting some kind of alarm or reminder for yourself, because many other students want to get these classes too. So you want to do your best to try to guarantee a spot. And if you don't get the classes that you want during your past one, it's okay. Pass 2 is your second opportunity to sign up for classes and or get on the wait list of a class that you really want. I personally use Pass 2 usually to wait list for classes that I want to take, but I wasn't available to sign up for during my Pass 1. So then, when you're searching for classes, there's a couple things to keep in mind. Each class has a certain amount of units. So how many units a class has can give you a general idea of what the workload is for that class and how long you meet. For example, for 3-unit classes, you'll meet 3 hours a week probably. For 4-unit classes, you meet 4 hours a week, and so on. For some classes, it gives you a general idea of how long outside of the class you should spend studying or working. Like I've heard people compare like 1 unit of a class to 2 hours outside of class studying. This isn't always the case, but kind of generally that's the idea. So I wanted to ask you guys, Mika and Carl, do you guys have any advice for the incoming freshmen, maybe about like how many units to take or other things to keep in mind when they're building your schedule? Mika, do you have any advice?
Yes. So I think that in general, what they consider to be a full-time student, you need to take at least 12 units. So I think that at least 12 units should be the minimum amount of units that you should take. Um, for part-time one, you're only available to sign up to 18 units. But I would honestly say, personally, that more than 16 is more than enough, especially for your freshman year. I think it's easier to start easy and just kind of have a view of how much you're capable of managing. And I think that once you feel you have a feel of it, maybe take more units. But I think starting with maybe 12 or 13 should be good.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that too. I think my first quarter I took like 12 and a half. So I think kind of starting on the lesser side and seeing how it is first and then working up to it would be a pretty good idea as well. Carl, do you have anything that you want to add on, like tips or anything like that in terms of?
I can only speak mostly for the engineers out there. um, some of the things that surprise me in engineering is the labs. Some of them are where there's like a class, right? And then there's a lab for that class. And in those labs, there will only be like one unit classes. But when you take them, they actually take a lot more than some of your other classes that are 4 units in classes. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're an engineer. The labs are gonna take a lot more time.
Yeah, so definitely it's pretty variable depending on which classes that you sign up for and how much work to put into it. So it's kind of a good idea to keep in mind when you're building your schedule. Okay, so also at UC Davis, you'll have to take classes that fulfill what's called Topical Breath and core literacies. Um, these are kind of better to talk about with your major advisor, but just to give you a general idea of what they are, topical breadth just means you'll take courses that are meant to give you knowledge across broader subjects than just your major. So you'll have to take courses in the arts and humanities, science and engineering, and the social sciences. Core literacies are classes that are meant to build specific skills, such as your writing experience, world culture, scientific literacy, and some other things. And so, kind of looking at it at first glance and talking about it, it can be kind of intimidating and a little bit confusing. But I would definitely recommend going to your major advisor and kind of asking them about what classes that you should take or how you should organize your schedule and to get more information on that. Did any of you guys find that talking to your major advisor was really helpful for things like this? Carl, did you have an experience?
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
It was actually really helpful because when I went into college, I was just told that there's gonna be my major requirements and then my GEs, and then people advised me just take the GEs as early as you can so you can focus on your major requirements later on. But then what I didn't know is that in fulfilling the GEs, there's many categories that I have to satisfy as well, and I didn't know that. And I think I learned that about like around my sophomore year when my advisor told me that there's like other kinds of G's that I have to take, and they will only be satisfied by taking these kinds of classes. That's one thing to, I guess, that's why you should go to your advisor and ask them for help.
Yeah, definitely. I think I found a lot of help when I went to my own major advisors as well. And I know for human development, the major advisors were really friendly and very helpful. And so hopefully that's the same across all majors. But yeah, I think that going to them was really helpful for me. And so even just hearing about that, I think that it makes it pretty different from the classes that you have to take in high school. In terms of like you have to fulfill these certain requirements and things like that. Um, but actually, that's kind of the reasons why I like college classes a lot more than I liked high school classes. I was able to choose to take classes that I actually found interesting and I wanted to learn more about, rather than taking classes that I didn't think would be useful and important for what I wanted to do in the future. And so, just in general, I think that um, I found college classes a lot more interesting than high school classes, and just the freedom to be able to organize my schedule in that way, a lot better than how I got to do it in high school. So yeah, as we kind of have talked about, you'll fulfill these different requirements through some classes of your major, but you also have the opportunity to take general education and elective classes. So these tend to be classes that are outside of your major to get more knowledge about just any subject that you want to learn, or to learn more about a field related to your major, things that you're interested in. So for example, like I mentioned that my favorite class was a music class. Music has nothing to do with human development, but I got to learn about things that I really like music from around the world, different instruments and things like that. And that fulfilled my arts and humanities and world cultures. Um, and it's something that I've always found interesting. I've wanted to learn more about. And so it's a really good opportunity just to take in college to take those opportunities and learn more about things like that.
Mm.
So then, do you guys have any more tips and things like that, recommendations that you would use to kind of organize your schedule or anything like that? Mika, do you have any further recommendations for the freshmen?
Yes, definitely. I think that something that has been helping me a lot, especially to determine when to take my classes, whether I want to take them like either like this quarter or maybe like wait one more quarter or like next year, is a website called Rate My Professor. So this website usually every college will have you have your professor. So if you go to the website, you're able to look onto your school and then the professor, and then through there you'll be able to see some ratings that each student would give to different professors, and they would come with like level of difficulty, overall rating, as well as some tips and advice that students give you to do better, or something that like you should look forward to. I think that it has been helping me a lot just because for me especially, I think that I like learning in a certain way, and sometimes professors might teach in different methods that I might not be, um, I guess, in linear with like how I learn. So I think that that has been helping me a lot. I would say that maybe a rating of overall rating of four or five would be the best. But then even with the overall rating of three should be fine. I don't know, but how about you guys? Like, what do you think should be a rate that you would think it's safe?
Yeah, I'd say probably like a higher rating, definitely. And then I think another thing, even about Rate My Professor, it's super helpful. But I think it's super helpful to even look through the comments and why people are rating the professor in the way that they are. For example, my junior year, I took a class and I really loved the professor. But when I went on to rate my professor, she had lower ratings. And so I was kind of wondering why. And I read through the comments and I figured out that it's because the class that she taught, for most of the students who rated her on Rate My Professor, it was at 8 in the morning, which is way too early for me and way too early for so many other people. And so they were kind of grumpy throughout most of the day. But the one quarter that I took her, she offered it at like 2 in the afternoon. And so that made a lot of the difference. So I think it's definitely really important to read through the comments on Rate My Professor too and figure out like why are they rating the professor in the way that they are and more specific things to kind of look at. Yeah, so I think another thing to kind of keep in mind is how to stay organized with your classes as well. So I don't know, have you guys used Google Calendar before to kind of keep track of your classes? I think that that's an important tool to use, right? And Mika, do you have any tips on like how to use Google Calendar? Anything like any other way to keep track of like the schedule of your classes or anything like that?
Yes, actually, so how you will sign up for your classes is that you will be using Schedule Builder. There will be an option once you sign up for the classes um, that if you are able to connect it through Google Calendar, then you're able to export all your classes as well as your finals towards your Google Calendar. And I think that for me that has been helping me a lot just because like the classes are in different places as well. The Google app is able to give you even the location of it and around how many minutes it will take you to get to your class. So I think that that has been helping me a lot, especially when I need to have an idea of how long it will take me to get to my classes on time. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Okay. Actually, how about since we've been kind of talking to them about Schedule Builder and stuff like that, Carl, do you want to start doing the demo for how to build your classes and things like that, how to use Schedule Builder?
Yeah, sure. So three things have been my main go-to this past 4 years, and these are the three things that I usually have in me whenever I register for classes. The first one is you guys might want to write this down too. The first one is you guys' major PDF requirements. You can just quickly Google it. If you're like a civil engineer like me, UC Davis civil engineering major requirements, and if you kind of scroll down from the website, you can kind of it's gonna be one of the first things that you'll see. Make sure that you download the 2019-2020, by the way, or whatever year it is for you, because sometimes some years they kind of vary the classes, but not too much. For the most part, they're the same, but there's some variation in there. So that's the first thing. The second thing you want to do is go to oasis.com. I think it's ucdavis.oasis.edu, not .com here, .edu, and then in there you will be able to create like a template for your classes. So you're not just I guess you don't just have an idea of one quarter, but for the rest of the quarters, even up until your senior year. And then the third thing you want to do is go to My Schedule Builder, which is where you're gonna register your classes. So one is keeping track of the classes, knowing the classes. The second is planning for the classes, and the third thing is registering for the classes. And I think I will be able to share you guys my screen so you guys can see how it looks like. So for civil engineering, this is a PDF. This is the PDF of what my classes look like. Every major is different, but I think if you guys spend like 5 to 10 minutes, you guys can kind of just understand how each of the how this projects all the classes you have to take. Khalees was mentioning earlier how you can keep track of the classes. I had my own little system of keeping track of my classes. So the orange ones, I just highlighted them as orange if there are classes that I have taken in the past. Purple is for the classes that I'm taking the quarter after, and then red are for the classes that I'm taking now. So this is a very comprehensive list of the kind of classes that you have to take, and this is you must really know and have this document with you at all times. The second thing is Oasis. So as I said earlier, oasis.ucdavis.edu. Click this link. And actually, oasis.ucdavis.edu has many things in it. There's this thing called, or there's the email and contact for people in your major.
Carl,
Yes.
Carl, sorry, they say that you're not, we're unable to see the screen. They can only see the background.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Carl is kind of trying to figure out how to let us share his screen. Um, I definitely found Oasis really useful in terms of how to organize my classes. And actually, something important to kind of note too is that when you go and speak to your major advisor, they'll be using Oasis as well to kind of put your classes in there and classes that they think you should take and things like that. So then you'll be able to log into your Oasis page, see what classes that you and your advisor have talked about already, and then what you can do is you can have Oasis on one side of your screen and then my schedule builder on the other side of your screen and kind of just transfer those classes over. So how you would do that is you would type the class code into the search bar at the top of schedule builder, and that'll kind of be like your guiding line as to seeing like how to transfer those exact classes over and things like that. How's the screen looking, Carl?
Yeah. Well, I don't think the screen is working right now. It was working yesterday when we were trying this out. I'm really sorry, guys. I can't show it to you.
Yeah, it's okay. We can. How about in the chat, one of us can kind of type in the links to those things, and so then they can kind of just have those to keep in mind for the future. I think that you won't necessarily have to see an example, but hopefully by the way that we've been explaining things, and because this is recorded, you can kind of go back to this recording as you're starting to choose your classes and then see and kind of choose on your screen, like as we talk through these different things. But yeah, so I guess with that, I kind of just wanted to end our kind of time of just talking and things and open it up for if anybody who's watching has questions or anything like that. So if you have a question, make sure you just type it right into the live chat, and then one of us will see it, and then we can answer it as we go. But I guess until then, as we're waiting for questions to come up if they have any, one question that I have for you guys, Mika and Carl, is what would you say is the number one most important resource for freshmen to use as they are building their classes and like choosing their classes, building their schedule and things like that? You give one recommendation over everything else for them to take back from this video. What would you say? Mika, how about, do you want to start?
Yes, I think that one advice that I would give is that like how to make my schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that definitely try to not take morning class. Oh well, it depends, but I think that something that has been very different compared to high school was that in high school I was able to wake up at 6 a.m. to go to my 8 a.m. classes. But then coming here in college, I think that that definitely has been really hard. I thought that because I was able to take wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning, that I would be able to make it to my 7:30 a.m. chemistry class that was right across my dorm. I realized that that has been really hard. So I would definitely think that maybe taking not that early classes or not too late either would be the best, especially your fall quarter, just to see whether it would be different to your high school years. I think that fall quarter definitely you should think of it as a transition. So maybe take it not too rigorously, just be able to be safe. I think that that would be the best thing. And I think that that's something I wish I knew in my fall quarter.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with waking up early. It's really rough when you get to college. Oh, actually, we have a question in the chat. So somebody asked, how do I know when my pastimes will close when scheduling my classes? How long is this time frame usually? So to answer that, I believe if you look on the UC Davis website, the registrar page, it says that pastime appointments is the start of like a 4-hour time window during which students can register for your classes. So just know generally, pastimes kind of differ throughout the day. I've had pastimes that started at 7:30 in the morning, or I've had pastimes that start at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Um, so then just know that that's kind of the start of when your pastime is, and from that point, you kind of have about 4 hours ish to um, figure out your schedule. So, for example, if you're like in class or you're at work or something like that, and you don't have time right when it starts, you kind of have a little bit of a gap to choose them. But I would definitely say if you can, it's really important to try to do your pass right when it opens. So you can kind of guarantee that, like, okay, like I'm not going to miss it. I'm not going to be too late to sign up for my classes or anything like that. So yeah, generally 4 hours, but if you can, I would try to do it as soon as like the closest time to when it starts. Hopefully that helps a little bit. And then, even aside from that, well, this is kind of more when you get into the school year and after past one, but after the 4 hour window, you have time to register during like open hours, and that's a time later in the day if you just happen to miss it. But definitely, if you want to try to guarantee a seat as quickly as possible, I would try to register at the very beginning. So hopefully that makes sense and helps a little bit. Thank you for your question. Okay, if you guys have any more questions, go ahead and keep them on sending. So how about until then, how about we kind of talk about like what was your first thought about building your schedule in college, and then like did it get easy for you over time, anything like that? So how about you, Carl? What was kind of like your first thought about building your schedule in college?
Yeah, I didn't know how to register or build up my schedule in college. Um, so actually, all the three things that I told you guys earlier to kind of keep in mind, I only learned them later on in my college years. So like the PDF and Oasis. I guess my schedule builder, you had to know that because that's where you have to register for the classes. But those two main things definitely. Um, One tip of advice I would have is as early as soon as possible. Try to make a template already of the kind of classes that you're going to be taking for the future quarters. Even make a plan for the rest of your senior year. It's probably not going to work out the way you planned it, but then you're going to have a general and good idea of what you're going to be doing for each quarter. And having that in the back of your mind is always a good thing. Keeping track of the classes, it's going to be easier for you to keep track of the classes that you have to take.
Yeah, definitely. Over time, I agree. Over time, over my 4 years of college, scheduling my classes got much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Remember my freshman year, I would sit there like 20 minutes before my pastime and just wait for the clock to turn to like whatever 3 o'clock whenever it was. But then my senior year, it got much easier. I built my schedule beforehand too, so that I could just like wake up out of bed, roll over, press and roll, and then go back to sleep. So, so hopefully you guys will get to that point too. I know the first year it's pretty intimidating and things, but definitely take heart because as you go through, it gets much easier. Um, and then, how about you, Mika? Did it get easier for you as you like throughout your college years and stuff like that, from when you first signed up to classes to like as we're ending our time of signing up for classes?
Yes, definitely. I think that the first time I signed up for classes, I was um, just really overwhelmed just because I was um, so from what I remember. Oh, actually, there's a question.
Oh, sure.
How how accessible are advisors to help with class planning? I think that like your first year, like during orientation day, they actually go through schedule builder with you on how to sign up for classes, and you actually get to sign up for classes with them that same day. Um, I would think that orientation day is 2 days, so I think this last day that's where you get to sign up for your classes. But I think that after that, usually they, based on your major, they will be able to help you on what classes to take. Usually they try to make you take classes that are going to be um, like required for your major, and then especially also for people who might be undecided, they also suggest you classes. But then I think that once fall quarter ends, I think that it would be good to go to your advisor, and then they're actually really accessible. You either can sign up for appointments online, or you can even do um, maybe like do a phone call. I know for animal science that the Animal Science Advising Center, there is a website that comes with a phone number, or you can just make an appointment there. And they are really helpful. Even if you don't have like a major advisor, you also have peer advisors who might be sophomores or juniors, or maybe even seniors, who they personally recommend you as well what classes to take. And yes, so like even if you are not able to meet with your major advising through appointment, maybe you can meet with like a peer advisor who might help you out with your classes.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing that, Mika. I think that, especially, I think if you're planning to meet with your advisor, it would be good to meet with them earlier in the quarter and before a couple of weeks before pastimes start. Just because once pastimes get closer and things, everybody starts scrambling to meet with your major advisor. So it's better to kind of guarantee that time slot earlier as well if you're able to. But yeah, they're definitely a really good resource to take advantage of, and they'll help you out a lot. I know that for human development too, if you go onto your Oasis page, you're able to schedule an appointment with them as well. I know that for the class of 2024, for the incoming freshmen, I know that orientation will be a lot different because all in-person things are closed. But I'm pretty sure that you will still be able to meet with them over the phone or over video chat and things. So they will still be available for you to meet with. But that's kind of after you sign up for your first round of classes. I think hopefully as well your orientation leader for this year will be able to help you out with that as well. But then after that point, your major advisor is kind of the go-to person. Yeah, so unless we get any more questions, I think we can kind of start to wrap up. But yeah, I hope that this has been a good informational session for you guys to get kind of a little bit more help and an idea of how to sign up for classes and things like that. Just again, we are part of a club at UC Davis called Koin Christian Fellowship. And kind of what we're planning to do through these webinars is just to be able to give more information to the incoming class of 2024 to help you guys out, especially because we know that you're entering into a really scary time and very uncertain time. We want to help as much as we can. So we'll be providing these weekly webinars to give you more information on things like classes, or last week we did a talk about roommates and how to choose them. Next week we'll be talking about clubs and student groups and how to get plugged into those and different areas like that. But actually, a webinar that goes along with this one, kind of like a good idea of which classes to take, which GEs to take, and things like that. We'll have that session in a couple more weeks. So if you continue coming out to our webinars, that'll be something to look forward to as well. And then just to kind of get, if you guys want any more information about who we are as Koinonia Christian Fellowship and what we do, I'm assuming that you're on our webpage right now, koinoniadavis.org. If you're not, you can go there to get more information about who we are and what we do. And on the homepage, if you scroll all the way down, you can sign up to be part of our newsletter at the very bottom of the page. And so we'll keep you updated with any of the events that we do or things like that. But yeah, I definitely Oh yeah, of course. We love answering your questions and things like that. I hope that it's been helpful for you, and hopefully to ease your nerves a little bit too, as well as just going into your first quarter of college. We're here for you, and we want to be able to answer any of your questions and things like that. So if you have any more, please get connected with us as well. But yeah, so that'll kind of conclude our chat for today. Okay, thank you guys so much for coming. Really had fun and appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you
See you
guys.
soon.
Thank
See you later.
you.
Bye.